Okay, so today we're going to be going through problems 26 through 40. Remember, this is worth 10% of your midterm grade, so please make sure that you bring your review sheet with you to class on the day of your midterm. Let's go ahead and start right now by going through problem number 26. The first thing I want us to do is to get rid of these parentheses, okay? Is there anything outside the parentheses right here that I need to do before I take away the parentheses? No, there's not, okay? So Jackson, all I need to do is just drop it down. So I'm going to drop down negative 8y minus 5. Jackson, what should I drop down next? Okay?
Negative 2y plus 6.
All right, very good. Now, I've got something unique here. I've got a plus and a minus next to each other. Who always wins?
Minus.
The minus, okay? So we don't need both of them there. If I'm adding a negative number, that just means I've got to subtract. Now, Jackson, go ahead and underline and circle the like terms for me.
Negative 8y and negative 2y.
Good job.
Negative 5 and 6.
Very good. Now go ahead and combine the like terms. What's negative 8y minus 2y? Okay, negative 10y, and then negative 5 plus 6 is what?
1.
Plus 1. So your final answer is negative 10y plus 1.
I do not do really anything, so just drop the negative 3x.
All right, so moving on to 27, we're going to just drop those parentheses because it doesn't need to change anything. Now what do I do?
And then you drop the add, but you could change it to a negative.
Okay, so you can see right here, plus and minus, we know the negative wins, so we're just going to drop down the negative.
And then just drop down the 6x instead of the negative. Then drop down minus 10.
Excellent. Now go ahead and help me find our like terms.
Okay, underline negative 3x and negative 6x. And circle 10 and negative 10.
Excellent. Let's always start with our variable term first. What's negative 3x minus 6x?
3x.
Okay, do I have same sign or different sign?
Different sign. Positive.
That and that. Are those the same sign or different sign?
Oh, the same one.
Same sign. Add the numbers, keep the sign. So what do you get?
Negative 3.
Add the numbers. What's 3 plus 6?
Negative 9.
Okay, and then keep the negative 9x. Now what happens with plus 10 minus 10?
0.
All right, it's a 0. So should I write plus 0?
No.
No, you just let it cancel out, and your correct answer is negative 9x. This kind of problem is slightly different. It says find the difference. Let's go ahead and just look at this first area right here. Jordan, is there anything that I need to do to those parentheses?
You have to drop the numbers down.
Okay, we're going to drop the numbers down. We don't need to change any signs because it was just regular. Okay, now.
Then you put a 1 by the negative. By the negative, you have to put a 1.
All right, so this means negative 1.
Yeah.
And then we're going to use the distributive property. Okay, very good. So he's showing me that we want to use these arrows like this. Okay, so let's look at this first one right here. What is negative 1 times negative 3x?
3x.
What kind of 3x? Positive 3x. Very good. Next up, what is negative 1 times 4.1?
Negative 4.1.
Very good.
There's 1 negative.
How many of you would say that you did it the same exact way? How many of you would say you did it a little different? I taught you a trick that you could learn, and if you wanted to, instead of doing all of this right here, you could just know that you're not allowed to have a negative right here unless you distribute it. So a lot of times we say, I would rather have it be a positive. So if that's the case, you are allowed to change that to a positive, but then that means I have to do something to every sign inside of the parentheses. What do I have to do to them? I have to flip them, okay? So instead of a negative 3x, that would be a positive 3x. And instead of a positive 4.1, that would be a negative. Okay, and if you look, plus 3x just means plus 3x. Negative 4.1 means negative 4.1. So it doesn't matter to me which way you do it. Jordan did it when you do the distributive property. Some people would prefer just to do it this way. Okay, Jordan, let's go ahead and circle and underline the like terms.
You underline 6x and positive 3x.
Good job. What do I circle?
You circle negative 2.5 and negative 4.1.
Excellent, because we remember every number has a sign, and that sign is directly in front of that number. Good job, Jordan. Let's combine the variable terms. 6x plus 3x?
9x.
9x. Now let's talk about the next one. Same sign or different sign?
Same sign.
Same sign. Add the numbers, keep the sign. So Jordan, what's 2.5 plus 4.1?
6.6.
6.6. No. Add the numbers, keep the sign. So what was my sign?
Negative 6.6.
Negative. So your final answer is 9x minus 6.6. All right, as I just walked around, a lot of you guys had the correct answer. So this first one right here, I'm just going to drop down what I've got there because there's nothing on the outside I need to distribute. Negative 2y minus 4. Notice here, this has to be distributed to everything inside of the parentheses, okay? So this time, I'm going to go ahead and just go with the shortcut. I do not like having negatives out there that I have to distribute, so I would rather turn it to a positive. So I'm going to change that negative to a plus. What do I have to do now to my positive 9y? It's going to become a negative 9y. What do I have to do to my positive 6? You have to change it to a negative 6. Now I've got this tricky thing. What happens with the plus minus side by side?
The negative person always.
The negative one always wins. When you're adding a negative, it means you're subtracting. Now I'm going to underline and circle. So we underline the y family and then circle the constants. Guys, what's negative 2y minus 9y?
11y. Negative 11y.
Very good. What's negative 4 minus 6?
Negative
6.
Never.
Negative 10. How many of you guys got positive 2? If you did that, here's what you forgot to do. You have to change that plus to a minus because there was a negative right here on the outside that had to get distributed to everything on the inside. So I think that's why some people made that mistake there, okay? This kind of a problem is probably one of the toughest problems that will be on your midterm. So if you need to, go back through the video and re-listen to it to help it sink in just a little bit better. Let's go to the next one. Simplify the expression using the distributive property. Jante, what should I do with this? Okay, very good. The way to show work with this kind of a problem is to draw the arrows so that you understand negative 3, since it's outside the parentheses, has to be distributed to everything inside the parentheses. So let's start with the first one. What's negative 3 times 2y?
Negative 6y.
Negative 6y. And then Jante, let's do this one right here. What is negative 3 times negative 3?
Negative 9.
Okay, if you have two negatives, that's an even number.
Positive 9.
Positive 9. Multiplied together, that's going to be a positive answer. All right, moving on to the next one. When I look inside of this parentheses, there are some things that I can combine together. What's in the same family inside those parentheses, Justin?
Y's.
The y family, okay? So we're going to go ahead and rewrite this with combining that, okay? So I'm going to drop down my negative 4 on the outside. Guys, what's 5y minus 3y?
It is 2y.
2y, and drop down your plus 2. Who wants to help me distribute this?
Me.
Jordan, go ahead.
You do your arrows from positive 2.
Excellent. We've got to distribute it, so we use our arrows to show us that. What's negative 4 times 2y?
It is, oh yeah, you have to multiply, never mind. It is negative 8y.
Negative 8y. And what's negative 4 times positive 2?
Oh yeah, it is negative 8.
Negative 8. So the final answer is negative 8y minus 8. As you can see on your review sheet, it says you are allowed to use a calculator on this portion of the midterm. So if you don't have it out yet, go ahead and pull out your calculator. On the actual midterm, there will be a couple different sections. One, I will say you're allowed to use a calculator. The other one, you are not, okay? So let's look at this. First things first. Identify the variable. Guys, what's my variable?
W.
W. Peyton, what's not allowing the variable to be alone?
Positive 1.
Okay, add by 1.4. How do I get rid of add by 1.4?
Subtract by 1.
Subtract by 1.4 on both sides. Help me out. What do I do next?
And then you get the 1.4s cancel out. And then over there's.
Okay, very good. So notice over here she has two negatives. Same sign, add and keep. Okay, so what do you get when you add it and keep it? Negative 11.6 equals W. I want you to go ahead and box that in. Now, it has asked us to check. As I glanced through a lot of your homework, you forgot to do the checking part. So go ahead and drop down your equal sign. All we're going to do this time is take that and bring it down here. Negative 10.2 equals W plus 1.4. Now, Peyton, you helped me figure out what my W was. What was the W?
11, yeah, 11, negative 11.
Okay, so I'm going to get rid of that W right there, and instead I'm going to go ahead and put in negative 11.6. Now drop down your equal sign. We know we want the answer to be negative 10.2. Let's go ahead and work with this on this side, guys. Same sign or different sign?
Different sign.
Different sign. So we're going to subtract. What's 11.6 minus 1.4?
10.2.
10.2, and then take the sign of the larger number.
Negative 10.2.
All right, does negative 10.2 equal negative 10.2?
Yes.
Give yourself a mini check mark. Any questions for how we solved that and how we checked it?
I also didn't subtract it.
All right, going on, number 33, Addie, identify the variable. What is not allowing the x to be alone? What about the 10? Divide by 10. How do I get rid of divide by 10?
Yeah, C.
You multiply by 10. Okay, so we're going to do what we do to the left side, I also have to do to the right side. So you can see right here, the 10 divided by the 10 cancels out. What am I left with on the left side, Addie? On the left side, what's left over there? Just an x. Drop down your equal sign. Now, Addie, what is negative 3 times 10? Negative 30. Everybody go ahead and box in that answer. Who would like to check it for me? All right, Micah, plug it in, plug it in. We're dropping down our equal sign, and all you're doing now is just taking that original problem and dropping it back down. So what are you writing?
So for x,
Good job, because we know what our x is. We're going to go ahead and write negative 30.
and we can put divide by 10,
Excellent.
and then equal negative 3,
Okay, drop down your equal sign. What is negative 30 divided by 10?
negative 3.
And does negative 3 equal negative 3? All right, good job. Give yourself a little check mark saying that you did it correctly. I want you to go ahead, look at the next one, see if you and your partner got the same answer. Okay, Justin, help me out. Identify your variable. Okay, how do I get rid of that multiply by 5? We're going to divide by 5 on both sides. M equals what? Negative 2. How do I check that?
Do 5 times negative 2.
5 times negative 2. And what is 5 times negative 2? Correct. So negative 10 does equal negative 10. Remember, all you're doing here is you are just dropping down the answer right there and seeing if it matches the original answer. All right, let's go on to number 35. Write the word sentence as an equation. This is what it says. The sum of a number m and negative 2 is 7. What does sum mean? Add. So I'm going to go ahead and just put my plus sign for right now. Now let's keep reading. So we've done the sum of a number. Let's talk about this. A number m and negative 2. So that means I am adding together m and negative 2. Then it says is 7. What do I do for that?
Equals 7.
Equals 7. All right, pretty simple. You're going to keep it just like that. A lot of people have been asking, could I just write m minus 2 equals 7? I would like to see that you understand that you are adding a negative number. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and keep it as m plus negative 2 equals 7. Number 36 says a number minus 12 equals 26. Jordan, what'd you write?
You can put in or whatever variable
Okay, you could put any variable because it doesn't specify. So he said n.
minus 12 equals 26.
All right, very good. So basically it was just reading it from left to right. Nice work. All right, Emma, a number divided by 11 is 5.
Okay. G over 11 equals 5.
Very good. The main thing I really wanted to see was this. I wanted to make sure that we have that fraction bar. That shows me that you understand a fraction bar means to divide. So go ahead, put that in there just like that. She chose G. Once again, you can use any variable that you want. On to the next one. Solve the two-step equations. First things first, identify the variable. A. What are the two things that are not allowing A to be alone on the right-hand side?
Multiply by 4 and add by 3.
Multiply by 4 and add by 3. Holly, out of those ones, who is best friends with the A? Multiply by 4 or add by 3? Okay, multiply by 4. Here's why. It's the number that's attached to the variable. So we pretended that they were best friends. Keep them together as long as you possibly can. Nemo, what do I get rid of first?
3.
Okay, how do I get rid of 3?
-3.
Good job. What you do to one side, you've got to be fair and do it to the other. And what are you left with, Nemo?
4, 8, and 12.
Okay, am I done?
No.
Now I've got to get rid of that multiply by 4. Holly, what do I do?
You divide 4a by 4 and 12 by 4. And a equals 3.
That is correct. We're just going to go ahead and rewrite it with that variable being first. A equals 3. I want you guys to check the next one with your partner. All right, as I walked around, I saw a lot of good answers. We've got another best friend scenario here. Who stays together as long as possible?
X divided by 8.
Here's why. It's a number attached to the variable, okay? We always add and subtract first, then we'll multiply and divide. So what should I get rid of first?
Minus 5.
Okay?
And you have plus 5 on both sides.
We're going to add 5 to both sides. On the left side, Peyton, what do I drop down?
X divided by 8.
X divided by 8 equals?
8.
How do I get x by itself?
Multiply by 8.
Multiply by 8 on both sides.
And x equals 64.
Oh.
X equals 64. If that's not what you got, please go ahead and fix it for me. All right, final question of the day. You have $475 in your bank account. You earn some money on a weekend mowing yards, and you deposit or you put that money into your account. You decide to buy a new television for $400. Now you have $350 left in your bank account. How much money did you earn mowing yards? You have to show an equation. So let's just figure out, let's break it down, because sometimes when we have all this information, it can get tricky. First things first, you have $475 in your bank account. So we're going to go ahead and start with that, $475. The next piece of information we see here is you earned some money. Do we know how much money we earned?
No.
No. So we're just going to say, well, what sign would it be if I'm earning it?
X.
Okay, X,
Add.
but what do I do? Add the X, okay?
Wait,
Then
unfreeze it.
Then you see here that you decide to go and buy a new television. If I go to buy a new television for $400, what happens to that? You subtract it. You spent some of your money. Now that equals something. Does it tell me how much it equals?
$350.
Okay, it says in the end, now you have $350 left. So let's just look on the left side. Is there anything I can combine?
No.
Yes.
What?
Those are both constants. That's all alone by itself. Guys, what's this if I connect it? What's 475 minus 400? $75. Drop down your plus X equals 350. Everyone identify the variable? X. What's not allowing X to be alone? So what do I do to that $75?
Minus it.
Let's go ahead and subtract $75
On both sides.
to both sides.
Right, we know.
On the left side, it's X. Jordan, what's 350 minus 75? All right. Go ahead and please box that in. Okay? Please study over the weekend. If you have not completed the rest of your review sheet, go ahead and do that over the weekend too.